The passage of time has developed a distinct desire within us to forge new paths and achieve what has never been done, thereby creating history and setting precedents for future generations. Many feats are often achieved through focused and intentional pursuit. Just as often, however, history is made and status quo is changed through inadvertent acts motivated by inspired, youthful ambition. Such is the story of the first females of the Barbados Cadet Corps, namely Margot Green, Mary Ann Redmond, Marlene Paris, Angela Lashley, and the late Roseanne Gribble. Their vision and determination to enter the Corps altered the fabric of what was traditionally a male-dominated institution and influenced others. We will hear of their story in this series, Unveiling the Vanguard. The late Major Patrick Skeet served as the first cadet executive officer, and he was well positioned to place the events in historical perspective.
The year for the start of the females in the Barbados Cadet Corps was 1973, but we'd have to back up a little bit and go back to the start of the Cadet Corps on the whole. The Barbados Cadet Corps was started at the Lodge School in 1904, and within that same year, there were other companies established at Harrison College and Combermere School. These were the three older secondary schools in Barbados. Remember, there will be other schools that are still prevalent in the island, like the Island School, for instance, Christchurch Foundation, but specifically at these three schools, and they're all male schools. The Cadet Corps was meant at the time to be for boys of 12 years and beyond. And by 1909, they were attached to the volunteer force, which was the military of that day. So in the act of 1909, they were made the Barbados Cadet Corps to bring the three companies together. It took 69 years before females were able to join the Barbados Cadet Corps, which is a very long time in the history of Barbados. Now, it's interesting that in 1973, when girls joined the Corps, there had been girls at Combermere from since 1969. So the question is, how come you didn't have girls joining immediately from 1969? But I think in 1973, a very enterprising set of young ladies from Christchurch Foundation School came to Combermere, and they wanted to be part of the Cadet Corps, some of them, that is.
We attended Girls Foundation School in 1967 when it was an all-girls school. But we shared the campus with an all-boys school.
Foundation was Foundation Girls and Foundation Boys, two entirely different schools, even though on the same physical premises, location, they were separate and apart as if they were in two different locations.
There were very distinct physical boundaries on the campus, so we knew where we could go and we could not go.
I mean, once you enter the school gates, you couldn't go back out again. I remember teachers like June, I can't remember June what. I used to get to school very early. One day we decided to go down to Oystins, take a little detour down to Oystins to buy some purses. And we saw her in the middle of Oystins Hill. Well, it was back up the road and a detention because you weren't allowed to leave school once you got there. They were very strict about your uniform, how you wore it, even on the street. They were very strict about how you ate, how you behaved at break time, how you behaved at lunchtime, how you behaved on the street. So Foundation School was a very disciplined place. That's my main memory of it.
The strength of Girls Foundation at that time was that we were all ladies. I shudder to think that we couldn't eat in our school uniforms. we couldn't eat We couldn't misbehave on the bus. You know, and those were things that Girls Foundation students never did. We never did. So all of us were like that, very decent. I would even say a few of us were shy. We weren't loud and aggressive. We weren't like that. And I think all of us were kind of girly, if you know, very, very, very feminine, normal, if you like, well behaved. Having come from foundation where there weren't any, we never got lashes, you know, we never got lashes. I can remember one person ever get in a fight, one in my 5 years at foundation, one fight I remember. And of course, that was the end of that student. You know, she would have been disciplined by perhaps suspension or something like that. But we didn't fight or anything. We were very disciplined students to start with.
So from the sort of get-go at foundation, rules were part of the school life. Boundaries were set, and we were asked to respect those boundaries. And for the most part, we did so because we were well-behaved, compliant girls seeking to be young ladies. If you were not, you would probably stick out in the school population. You would stick out like a square peg, sore thumb, you know. So you don't want to be that square peg. So you toe the line and you comply. So rules, regulations, respect for boundaries and authority was all part of school life at foundation. And we embraced it, you know.
Foundation Girls during my time was headed by Mrs. Enid Lynch, a remarkable person, an exceptional leader. And she was somebody who instilled in us girls a sense of pride in our school. She always told us anytime we were wearing the foundation uniform, we were ambassadors for the school. And we took that we felt very important to be ambassadors. And we took that very seriously.
Senator Enid Lynch, she wasn't senator at the time, but her background was in social work. So she brought to her role as the headmistress, which is what the principal was called at the time, sensitivity to the various social backgrounds that would have been represented in her school and the way in which this diversity affected the behaviors of the students of her school. I thought that she had a very student-centered approach to being the headmistress. It is as though she knew every single student by name. And she would often stop you at any time to engage you, to find out how you were doing and, you know, how you were getting on. And you were always shocked to find out that she knew your name, you know. And the motto of the school, as is exemplified in the school song, non subi sed omnibus, not for oneself but for all, she sought to bring that philosophy to the student body, where we were to be proud of our school. We were to understand that we were there to work, to play together for our school. So she encouraged us to see the school as ours, and that really and truly our conduct, our behavior should be such, especially when we are in uniform, that we will bring no disrepute to the school. And at the same time, she was very nurturing in how she, you know, administered the school. She was very forward-thinking, because I do recall that she introduced, even back then in the late 60s, early 70s, she introduced a concept called student council. And it was a forum where the student body had an opportunity to select its representatives, who will then go to this forum comprising the management of the school, the principals, the heads of department, and so on. and we would, those representatives would have to advocate for issues that were of concern to the students. So in that way, she kind of encouraged from, you know, participatory governance at a time that was unheard of. At the same time, that caused us to be critical thinkers and to be able to, you know, articulate and advocate for what we wanted, how we could make our school experience a better one, you know. So in those days, we used to have to wear Panama hats and that kind of thing. And I do remember, because I was on the student council at some point in time, the student council arguing, why are we still wearing Panama hats? You know, the sun is hot, but we don't need Panama hats, you know, and things like that.
So there was discipline, there was respect for authority. There was a sense of confidence that they instilled in us as females in the 70s. There was the notion that we should question things, that we should have a voice, we should be heard, but we had to know how to do it. And the school was remarkable in that sense. It helped us to blossom as females at a time when there was, in first world countries, the women's liberation movement. And so there was the feeling that anything a man could do, a woman certainly could. And that was instilled in us. And so to a certain extent, we were, perhaps fearless is too strong a word, but certainly full of confidence. She made sure that her girls were confident and fit for purpose in terms of going out into the world and doing what they had to do as productive citizens, not just females restricted by what operated at that time, but females who saw potential within themselves and who felt that they could do anything.
She was very forward thinking, and she had a very loving, caring attitude for her students. And it redounded to the ethos of the school, which was one of, you know, we enjoy being foundationers, we enjoy being at school, you know. So it's not that, you know, academic achievement was also very important to her, because she recognized that that was the vehicle by which we could overcome any hurdles, any challenges to our present social background. And so she encouraged everyone to value the opportunity we were getting at Foundation School to be educated, you know, to change our lives. You know, she was, and I think that she was effective in this respect because of the quality of staff that she attracted.
She led a team of teachers who fully supported her because of the type of person that she was. And so that discipline was instilled through not only the principal, but every single teacher. So they were all preaching from the same hymn book, so to speak.
She attracted staff with who, to me, I don't know if there would have been disagreements in the back, but they all seem to have bought into her vision. And most of them were also caring, nurturing, interested in the girls, you know, interested in us. We had teachers who would actually invite us to their homes, you know, like Loretta Hackett, who became the form teacher in second form. And she was a young Tobagonian graduate at St. Augustine. She just graduated from St. Augustine, and she got married to a Bajan, and she came to live in Barbados and to work at Foundation. She taught us, at least me, the whole concept of being a better person, to be thoughtful, to be kind, to work with your peers, you know, and that it was not just this rabid pursuit of knowledge and school work, you know. That was my life at Foundation, where we were happy, We were proud of our school. We enjoyed being at school. For me, I was like a jockey. So once I was on the playing field, I was practicing my high jump or my long jump or my athletics. I was a netballer. I was a captain of the volleyball team. So I suppose as one teacher said to me, oh, y'all were, and this was a set of girls, actually the same set of girls that went on to Combermere. So, oh, y'all were a set of high flyers. Because we did well in academics, we were involved in all the extracurricular activities in the school, and there were many. We had athletics, netball, volleyball, swimming, dancing, gymnastics, rangers, guides, Red Cross. So we had lots of extracurricular activities to be involved in. And so I was particularly interested in the athletics and so on, and I was good at it. As I said, I was a volleyball captain. I was the Victrix Ludorum at one year at the school. I won an inter-school athletic competition. So I was well known, I was well known. And I also did well academically too. This is why we were then in a position, having done O-levels and doing well, to be thinking about where are we going to go to do our A-levels. We had quite a few girls who had done well in the GCE O-levels, and we were considering doing A-levels.
And so when we got our O-level results, we wanted to go into sixth form.
At the time when we left foundation in 1973, there were only a few schools with sixth forms. Okay, so you had Queen's College, which was all girls. You had Harrison College, you had Combermere, and you had the Lodge School. There were the 4 schools with sixth form. If you decided that you wanted to do sixth form, you had to either go, of course there was community college, but you had to be accepted in one of these schools.
Community college was there, yes, but many of us, I should say foundation, the atmosphere at foundation was very much like a family. So you felt very protected in that environment. For us, we didn't get the sense that at that point in time, community college provided the same environment. And so we were looking for a sixth form school at which we could attend. Back in the day, the allocation of spaces in the sixth form schools for girls was half that allocated for boys. And so your choices were very limited. And we decided, in fact I decided, and I encouraged 2 friends of mine at that point in time, that we should call the then principal of Combermere, Mr. Moore, DeVere Moore, and ask whether we could attend the school to do our 3 A-level subjects. He didn't hesitate, and we went across to Combermere. That was the first week. By the second week, 7 more girls from foundation joined us.
We stumbled on each other because we would have been applying. I, for example, had applied to Queen's College and had been accepted, but I wanted to do English, which was my first subject, and Queen's College allowed me only to do geography and history. They didn't give me a space in their English grouping. So on the first day of school, when some of my other friends from foundation had been accepted into Combermere, we met in Bridgetown.
We were aware that there were some girls from Girls Foundation who had previously gone to Combermere, but to do fine arts. This would be, arts, art history, that kind of thing. but there was never any set of girls going to do liberal arts, which is what we wanted to do, things like foreign languages, history, geography, that kind of thing. But so with the spirit of boldness and advocacy which we acquired at Foundation, we decided we are going to approach the headmaster of Combermere and ask him if we can come to Combermere to do liberal arts, notwithstanding that no set of girls had done it before. So we went. He was amenable to the idea. He received it. He didn't tell us where we were. That's absolutely impossible or anything like that. But he said, well, you know, he has no objections, but that he would have to clear it with his governing body. So he got, you know, the schools at that time, those grammar schools were controlled by something called a governing body. So he had to go to the governing body to find out if it would be okay and so on. So we never really, that summer, we never really knew if we were going to be accepted into Combermere, because he was observing the protocols and seeking to get the approvals, the necessary approvals and so on. In fact, I think it was not until like the weekend before the new year was to start that, you know, I got a call from one of my contemporaries who was also seeking to get in. Marlene, we get in, you know, we get accepted to Combermere. And this was like I think it was the Friday before school, the new year was to start, the Monday or so. So, well, I had already approached Queen's College because I didn't really want to go to community college. So the next choice was Queen's College, and I was accepted to go to Queen's College. But my contemporaries there, they just persuaded me, come, let's go to Combermere, it's different, and you know. So I decided, okay, I'll go along to Combermere with y'all. I'm going to Combermere. And I remember there was another student who was in our group, but we were not able to get in contact with her that weekend. And she was also accepted to Queen's College. So the Monday morning when we were supposed to be going to Combermere, we decided, because I think it was Roseanne or someone came and picked me up. So there we were cruising in the car going to Combermere. We decided, well, let us, you know, because we are thinkers, she's coming from, say, St. George. She's going to take the bus, come into Bridgetown, and then she's going to walk up to Queen's College. So we decided we are going to just follow that route just to see if we see her on the way to Queen's College. And indeed we did. There she was walking up to Queen's College in Queen's College uniform. Of course, the window come down. Should I call her by name? Angela, we get in. We all get accepted to Combermere. And she says, well, oh, college tie comes off. And in the car, she comes with us. So she had on this royal blue skirt. I think it was a royal blue skirt they used to wear, and this white top. But we have gone to Combermere.
Without even telling my parents anything, I went up to Combermere and applied and was accepted to do English. So I was overjoyed. Of course, I had to get another uniform, and my parents weren't thrilled, especially my mother, but for a few days I wore Queen's College uniform into Combermere, and yes, without the tie, and then I switched, and of course when my results came out, Dame Elsie Payne called Combermere to find out if I had passed the English, and I had got an A. Yeah, so she was not unhappy that I had left her school to go to Combermere, because I really wanted to do English. As you know, I ended up as a teacher of English for many years. But this is Combermere in the 70s, all male. It was the first time that Combermere had ever had such a large intake of girls. And when I say large, it was not hundreds. There were 12 girls from Foundation and 4 from St. Michael's, from the St. Michael's School.
We expected it to be different, but not as different as it turned out to be. Those boys had fun all day long. It started with prayers. We were shocked at what they did at prayers, but it was a very welcoming environment that we went into. The boys were rowdy. It was a boys' school, so, and they weren't really controlled by the presence of girls. The boys were rowdy, but they were fun. I remember the first morning of prayers when the headmaster walked through. The little boys were scrambling, fighting on the benches on the front. The boys up in the balcony were throwing paper at each other. But the minute he stepped onto that school, onto the stage to start proceedings, everything ceased. It was like magic. Everything ceased. They just became quiet and behaved themselves. And I found that really interesting. I don't know why they did it. Perhaps it was respect for the headmaster. But the minute he stepped on the platform to start prayers, their bad behavior stopped. But let me tell you, it was bad behavior before he got on the stairs, but good fun.
When we joined the sixth form, there was no classroom, there were no bathroom facilities for us or anything like that. We used the library as our base, the girls, and so all of us were stationed in the library, which had a bathroom. And some changes had to be made to accommodate us as girls in a boys' school. We sang for the 2 years we were there, "Up Boys!" Oh, truest fame lies in high endeavor. And we enjoyed singing "Up Boys," even though we were like 15 girls there. We sang "Up Boys," and now it has changed. But girl guides was not an option for us in the sixth form at that time. And of course, cadets tend to go on in age because it was at the sixth form institutions. You tend to be a cadet longer than you are a girl guide. And for me personally, I was in the girl guides at primary school, but I never joined the girl guides at Foundation. But there was something about the cadet movement that attracted me, which the girl guide didn't. My sister was a girl guide for a long time, and she even became a guide leader, a guider, for all her years while she was in Barbados. And she headed the guide Foundation school at one time. But the cadet movement was different. And I think it made a pull to me that the girl guide movement didn't. So that's why it was in 1973 when we left Foundation, and all 5 of us that enrolled in the cadet corps were from Foundation, even though there were St. Michael's girls at the school at the time in sixth form.
Their desire to pursue higher education at the Combermere School signaled a new day for the cadet movement in Barbados. This has been Chapter 1 as we unveiled the Vanguard and presented the story of the first females of the Barbados Cadet Corps. Their story continues next week at the same time. I'm Miles Eversley.